say first and foremost, it's good to win. You know, it's good to be 1-0 and win a different style of game than maybe we're a little accustomed to playing around here. To one where we had to kind of rely on our defense and our offense kind of sputtered throughout the game, and to find a way to win that type of a game for us, I think was encouraging on that front. It was an odd game in that, you know, we started out with so much energy and enthusiasm, and we were moving the ball well offensively. We get the turnover on defense, and some things just kind of don't go our way. And I didn't think we responded great, and that probably goes back to me more so than anything. We just didn't respond great. We had a couple penalties against us offensively that, you know, negated a big play there to case in, a couple other big plays, and got into a little bit of a funk. Had some guys go down. Jesse injured his knees, getting an MRI in his knee. We'll find out what that is. And then Ben Riva fractured his forearm essentially. So, you know, you start to the huddle changes a bit, and then I think we tried maybe a little too hard offensively. We got out of ourselves, and that you know, held on to the ball a little bit too much at quarterback. And a credit to San Diego State, they did a nice job of pressuring us, and we just couldn't, you know, when they're blitzing and you're throwing quick stuff, we just couldn't quite step out of the tackle to create some big plays that you need to do when a team's playing that way against you. You know, we leaned on Bishop quite a bit, obviously. We'll have to find a way to fill what Jesse's role is if he's out with somewhat of a significant time. I thought defensively, especially early, we played really, really well. You know, guys were flying around, we were playing hard. We got beat on a play that I still don't know if it's legal or not. I'm going to find out. And, you know, my interpretation of the rule is you can't substitute or you can't run a play with the intent to deceive. And I sure thought that there was an intent to deceive. And then I thought we called timeout, and we didn't get a timeout called. So sometimes that just didn't go our way on that play. And then we missed the quarterback. You know, and Katz got out on some scrambles that I think is an area that we can fix and fix quickly. You know, whether it's Timu being free in the A-gap blitzing or not losing contain on third downs. It was because we covered him well, but we lost contain, and he got out on some long runs that way. But for guys that had to move position and do some things, I thought for Feeney, first game at linebacker, wasn't perfect, you know, but played hard. Shaq doing what he did out there. We saw a lot of new faces. Trey Watson with the interception. You know, so on that end, it was good. You know, special teams wise, okay. I would have liked to seen Travis hit the field goal. So all in all, it's good to be 1-0, but I think we're a better football team than this, and we've got a lot of areas and things to work on in all three phases of the game that can get us better and better quickly and dramatically. But they have to be addressed, and we have to start on that first thing Monday morning.
Steve, without Jesse, were you limited at all in what you could call in the run game?
A little bit of ourselves there. You know, we had a pretty decent plan for the two backs being there together, and I just wasn't at a comfort level of getting to that stuff. But that's not an excuse. You know, we should run the ball better than we did. You know, and we've got to find our identity in the run game of who are we in the run game, and how are we going to become that to where our run game is. You know, I don't know if we're going to lead the country in rushing, but it needs to be a good complement to our passing game. And tonight it wasn't where it needed to be.
Steve, on the play you talked about, was the receiver kind of hidden? We were trying to.
They hit him on their sidelines, yeah, coming out of the timeout. And you know, we'll have to see. You know, part of the rule is he has to come inside the numbers before he goes back out, and has to be after the official blows the play. You know, in the play. They can only have 11 guys in the huddle, so there's a lot of things to look at on the film. But the rule at the end is with the intent to deceive, and it sure felt like there was an intent to deceive because they deceived us. They got us.
Did you get any explanation from the refs on the field after that play? Did you even?
Pretty much all of that I just covered, you know, and you know, in talking back, you know, this happened a few years ago. I was part of this very similar play. I want to say it was when I was at SC, and I want to say it was against the Huskies, when we did it on a field goal. and threw that touchdown. And I thought at that point, that's when the rule got changed. And so kind of got burned on one of my own deals here, so.
Sark, what about True? How's he doing?
True's okay. He kind of, he tweaked his hammy, but we don't think it's serious. He was running when we kind of held him out precautionary. He just went to run and his foot kind of gave out. Kind of an awkward play, but we think he's going to be okay. And Princeton, you saw, kind of banged his head. They don't think it's serious at all. Minor at best. So he just kind of was pretty woozy there on a big hit.
Kind of looked like the turf monster. Hit a couple
yeah.
guys on him.
Yeah, it did. I think that's what happened with Jesse. There was nobody around him. He was running and kind of fell down. So we got to see what that is.
With Riva, are you concerned? What is your concern level? Can he come back and play with this kind of injury?
I don't know enough. With getting with our doctors exactly how this is going to play out. I would probably say that that's doubtful for that to happen that way. So Mike Chris got in and got to look at the film and see how he did. And again, that's why in training camp, guys, why we practice and we move guys around to be prepared for stuff like this. And so we'll have to look at some things, if potentially moving a toe back in there at guard full time and maybe putting Kohler back out there at tackle, or leaving Kristen there and see what he can do. So we got some options, which is okay.
How much did you have to change play calling, the way the game was going there?
It just kind of got funky. The game got a little funky. I've called better games, and I'll call better games than I did tonight. I've seen Keith Price better than he was tonight. He's kind of maybe just didn't feel right, didn't feel quite comfortable all the way through it. And we're probably not going to be great on offense if myself and he aren't just in the rhythm of the game. And so we'll be better than we were.
How much of that was the pressure that Price was getting?
A little bit of that, but there was times when there really wasn't as much pressure, and he maybe thought there was, and we can help him. We can do some better stuff to take care of him that way. I was glad that we were able to get the ball to Austin and Kaysen, and that was part of what we wanted to do. I wish we could have got the ball to Jadon Mickens a bit more, maybe Kendall Taylor and those guys, some of our speed guys, because when you play a team like that, it's playing so much man-to-man, there's so much pressure. You got to try to get the ball out on the perimeter and get the ball in space, and when you're in those one-on-one settings, you have to win one-on-one. You got to break tackles, you got to make tough catches, because when you do, that's how you create big plays. And you're not going to get them out of that style of defense unless you create big plays. If you're nickel and diming your way down the field, they're just going to keep heating you up, and we weren't able to create enough big plays to get them out of that.
Just two more guys, please.
Steve, of course, your offensive mind, you're thinking that way, but how much maybe is your team a little more full with relying on the defense?
Well, I felt that, and we tried to lean on them a little bit and work the clock there late in the game, and do some things just to kind of move the ball around. And I felt like, we got a couple pretty key injuries there, and some guys started to cramp a little bit, and got to a point of, well, maybe we need to shorten this game down here and win this thing. And that's a nice thing to know, that you can lean on your defense that way, and that hadn't been a big luxury of ours here in the past.
He kind of hinted. I say he kind of hinted at the way they might go for two and go on fourth down a lot. But you guys kind of prepared for all of those?
I think we were. I thought we were prepared for it. So much of early in the season type games, and I saw it all day today and on TV, and then with our stuff tonight. Substitutions are always an issue. The special situations within the game are always issues. Some of those plays like we saw tonight, and the penalties. And then how you respond to them, and you watch in the games. And so we were prepared for that aspect of it, but they got us on a couple other things. So that's a pretty good team. Now that's a good team. And Rocky Long does a nice job. They're going to win a bunch of games again this year.
As far as the volume on your play sheet, Steve, how did that compare to maybe Eastern or Baylor or anything in between from last year?
Volume-wise, we had a pretty decent amount in the game plan. A bit of my concern in the game plan coming in was, I'm always trying to protect our guys as best we can, and we're playing some young wideouts, and I wanted to ensure that they could have some success and not put too much on them. 2 new tackles making their first career start, so I wanted to kind of take care of those guys. And then when we lost Jesse there pretty early there in the first quarter, I wanted to make sure I could protect Bishop some too, you know, and so we probably got scaled down a little quicker than I would have liked. But you know, what I didn't want to do was lose our stinger, and I thought a little bit in there we lost a bit of our stinger. When we're at our best, we're an attacking offensive football team, and we stress you whether it's through how we run the football, how we throw the ball down the field with our up-tempo stuff and no huddle, how we can change gears with personnel groupings. And we got a little stale tonight, and that was probably mostly on me.
Steve, were the short kickoffs by design, was that part of what you were gonna do, or?
No, you know, Travis has just had a little bit of a fatigued leg here as of late, and so we almost went in with, hey, try not to just burn yourself out here, you know, and his groin had been a little bit sore, and the last thing I want is on the opening kickoff, him swing and try to hit it as hard as he could and injure the groin to a worse degree. And so we just told him to strike it well. We wanted to make sure we placed it, you know, in the left-hand corner of the end zone and cover really well. And he did it exactly what we wanted to do. We just didn't fit the first return. We fit it completely wrong. And so there were some things that obviously that we're going to be able to fix because they're glaring. They're so easy for us to see that we're going to be able to address them and get them fixed quickly.